Karl Benz, the man who gave the world wheels, a childhood of gears and dreams in a small German town called Mühlberg. On November 25, 1844, a boy was born who would one day change the way people traveled forever. His name was Karl Benz. His father, a railway worker, dreamed that Karl would one day follow in his footsteps. But fate had other plans. When Karl was just 2 years old, his father died of pneumonia, leaving his mother to raise him alone. Though life was hard, his mother never gave up on her son. Karl, too, was different from other children. While other boys played in the streets, he spent hours taking apart clocks, fixing bicycles, and sketching machines in the dirt. Machines are the future, he would tell his mother. And he was determined to be part of it. The young engineer Karl worked tirelessly in school, showing an extraordinary talent for mechanics. At 15, he was accepted into the Karlsruhe Polytechnic School, one of the finest engineering schools in Germany. By 19, he graduated as a mechanical engineer, one of the youngest in his class. But Karl didn't want an ordinary job. He wanted to build something that had never been built before. The dream of a horseless carriage. In 1871, Karl married Bertha Benz, a woman who was not just his wife but his greatest supporter. With her encouragement, he started a company called Benz & C, building industrial machines. But deep in his heart, Karl had a bigger dream: to build a horseless carriage. At the time, people thought this idea was crazy. Why would anyone need a machine when we have horses? They laughed. But Karl was convinced that steam engines were too bulky and electric motors were not ready. The future, he believed, lay in a gasoline-powered engine. So, in secret, he began working on a vehicle that could move on its own. The birth of the first car. After years of trial and error, in 1885, Karl finally built the world's first automobile, the Benz Patent-Motorwagen. It had 3 wheels, a single-cylinder gasoline engine, and could travel at a speed of 16 kilometers per hour, 10 miles per hour. It was a masterpiece of engineering, but there was one problem. No one believed in it. Investors refused to fund it. People laughed at the noisy, sputtering machine. Even Karl began to lose hope. But Bertha Benz did not. Bertha's historic journey. One morning in 1888, while Karl was still asleep, Bertha made a bold decision. Without telling her husband, she took the car and, along with her 2 sons, drove 106 kilometers, 66 miles, from Mannheim to her mother's house in Pforzheim. This was the world's first long-distance car journey. Along the way, Bertha refueled at a pharmacy, creating the first gas station, unclogged a fuel line with her hairpin, and fixed a broken ignition with her garter. By the time she reached Pforzheim, everyone was talking about the car. People finally saw its potential. Thanks to Bertha's daring journey, the automobile became a reality. Changing the world forever. After Bertha's trip, Karl improved his design, adding better brakes and gears. The Benz Patent-Motorwagen became the first commercially available car in 1888, and by 1900, automobiles were spreading across Europe and America. In 1926, Karl's company merged with Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft, forming Mercedes-Benz, one of the greatest car manufacturers in history. Karl Benz, the man who once struggled to convince the world that cars had a future, lived long enough to see millions of them on the roads. He passed away on April 4, 1929, at the age of 84. The legacy that drives us today, every car, truck, and bus on the road carries the spirit of Karl and Bertha Benz. Every time we start an engine, we honor their dream. Every gas station exists because of Bertha's journey. Every car manufacturer owes its beginnings to the Motorwagen. Karl Benz didn't just invent a machine. He invented the way the world moves.